Heartbreaking loss for the Celtics, 92-91 after an improbable John Wall 3 with just 3 seconds to go. This is Celtics Roundtable, part of the Boston Celtics newsfeed, and I'm Jon Ignal, joined by Jonathan Levy, Lucky's Pipe, and my brother Jonathan. John, you wanted to set the stage here. What went wrong at the end?
The big play for me was Isaiah Thomas's brutal turnover that led to a Brad Beal 3 and put the Wizards in a position where John Wall could be the hero, which he was. Yeah, just a brutal loss. I mean, you live with the shot. ISO, it looked like a Carmelo Anthony type play. Nothing was going right. It was an isolation.
Yeah, that Isaiah turnover was brutal. He shouldn't have thrown the pass. There should have been an outlet there. I also thought he waited too long on the very next possession to make his move, which was a contested 3. And like you said, the Wizards made plays at the end. What are the chances of that John Wall shot going in, Levy?
I mean, they're about 33%. Looking at his 3-point percentage shooting for the year. This is also at the top of the break 3. It isn't like a corner 3. He's being covered by Avery. Avery plays good defense on him. I like that shot. I want that shot as a Celtics fan, as opposed to Wall driving to the hoop or something where he's going to get the call a lot or get a layup or find a wide open shot for someone else. Celtics are also still going to have, as they did, 3.5 seconds left and a timeout, which means they're going to get a good opportunity to get a good shot as well. It seems like a great spot to get a victory. It just didn't happen.
They left the Wizards with a foul to give, which hurt them.
That's true.
Very much at the end. I think that percentage is even lower. I mean, he was a step or two beyond. Avery Bradley was sort of there. I don't know if you really want to give up like the win though. I guess on John Wall you have to pick your poison with him.
Yeah, they made it like a 40-second game at the end. It was tied, and it's just like anything can happen at that point. Yeah, you live with the Wall 3. That's just gonna take it if you have to. But it was there. They had the 5-point lead. It was there.
Yeah, it kind of makes it even worse that the Celtics were all black and were silent on the bus. If you're gonna pull that, you gotta back it up. I know they played really hard. I mean, I don't think they necessarily played well. I was really impressed with the defense and Avery Bradley on offense.
I mean, both teams played their worst game, or among their worst games of this series and of the playoffs. They shot poorly. Celtics ended up shooting 40% from the field, and that's only because they hit their last, 2 of their last 3 shots. Wizards shot 43%, shot 21% from 3. They shot 62% from the free throw line. As usual, they beat the Celtics up on the boards. Nobody really played particularly well as a team. It was just an ugly, ugly game for whatever reason. You didn't really expect that. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with the Celtics wearing all black, not talking, and losing on a John Wall, essentially buzzer beater. It seems reasonable to me. I just don't want them to lose by 25 and have there be like a 32-0 run in the third quarter. I feel like, okay, it's fine. And now we get a game 7. You know what? That's going to be great. That's going to be all the marbles, essentially, for the Celtics this season, because there's no reasonable scenario short of LeBron getting caught by the cops for double homicide for the Celtics to get out of the Eastern Conference Finals anyway. So this is it, man. It all comes down to this. That's great. It's going to be a really fun Monday night game. And then we get the lottery pick on Tuesday.
I think it was Evan, maybe last podcast, talked about how the bench players and the role players are really important. And you look up and down the Celtics bench, and not much really from anyone. I mean, Marcus Smart took a good charge at the end of the game on John Wall, but 5 points for the bench, like that's not enough. There needed to be someone to step up, and there was nothing from Terry Rozier. Kelly Olynyk was as soft as ever, and Jaylen Brown couldn't hit a shot. And Marcus Smart seemed afraid to shoot.
I thought the defense for most of this game was very, very good. The Wizards missed a lot of threes, but I thought that the Celtics did a really good job, either running them off the 3-point line or contesting them when the Wizards did actually shoot it. And then I thought the Celtics generated lots of open shots for themselves with really good ball movement. They just didn't fall for the Celtics tonight. I thought they played harder than the Wizards. I thought they were getting the 50-50 balls. I was happy with how they were playing. Something went wrong at the very end. Yeah, John Wall, looking like he was having a James Harden type of game in the first half, becomes a hero at the end.
The Celtics have bounced back from so many tough spots already in these playoffs. I don't think there's going to be any carryover at all. I'm not concerned about any sort of hangover from this game. This was a great, tough game. They really had it. Even though they played poorly, they still really had it in hand. And, we had that horrible Isaiah turnover. Avery shot the ball, in my opinion, a little early there, and although he hit the shot, he gave the Wizards a shot at a 2-for-1.
That was the design play, though, right?
I understand that. I don't think the design, though, was to take a long 2. I think the design was to take a wide-open corner 3. So you lost that extra point, and that point would have helped. But it wasn't the process, I think, that ultimately leads to winning games most of the time. And so it still should have been enough. Isaiah's turnover was brutal, but ultimately the Celtics have come back down 0-2 to the Bulls, going to Chicago. They got blown out twice in Washington and looked terrible, came right back and put together probably their best game of the playoffs in Game 5. They fought a war tonight. I expect them to be ready to go on Monday night. Also Tuesday night.
Once again, we saw the Wizards just putting a ton of pressure on Isaiah, 2-3 defenders sometimes, and the Celtics just got like a ton of open looks from everywhere. As I said, the ball was just like kind of going inside into the paint, then out to the 3-point line. I thought the Celtics rim protection was really strong until, I don't know, maybe in the third quarter it looked like Wall started to get comfortable. The Celtics were starting to switch a little bit more, and the Wizards were starting to take advantage of those more favorable matchups. Beal punished every single switch he got, mostly torching guys like Kelly Olynyk out there. Man, this was like a physical game. I mean, who would have thought that the Wizards and Celtics would play a game? I didn't even know if it was going to get to 90. What else? Oh, I also thought the amount of physicality, like there was so much that was going uncalled. It seemed like Gortat was setting an illegal screen every single time. Marcus Smart was being held very clearly on plays where Bradley Beal got open shots from the wing where Smart was the primary defender. I mean, it's just so crazy how different the game is refereed in the playoffs. What else did you guys notice in this game?
Well, like scheme-wise, I hope they pretty much keep it the same as they did today as first Game 7. I just hope that, the bench players are feeling a little bit warmer in the home court. They were doing a lot of things right. It just wasn't falling when it should have.
I mean, the Celtics missed, I think, 4 point-blank layups, including an Avery Bradley slam dunk. Isaiah missed a wide-open layup. Al Horford did as well. That stuff is just not going to happen again, I don't think. Like, it's very, very unusual for them to miss that many wide-open bunnies. I really think they're going to play a little bit better. Their shooting's going to be better in Game 7. I don't think they're going to do much else differently. They're going to do their best to play hardcore defense and expect their shots are going to fall more. By the way, I expect Washington's going to think the same thing. Washington's going to say, wait a second, we shot 21% from 3 and we won? We shot 62% from the free throw line and we won? Okay, let's just, spin it back, boys. There's nothing to do. Just go out there and play better.
This game remind you of the Phoenix game at all?
Wizards had a 3-point, according to Unpredictable, Wizards had a 3.8% chance of winning when the Celtics had the ball with a minute 25 left. Pretty brutal to lose after something like that. But, Isaiah made 2 huge shots leading up to that. He got a switch on Morris and drilled a step back from the corner, then drilled a 3, which looked like it was going to win the game for the Celtics. Then we saw Smart draw an offensive foul. But then, turnover brutal. I thought he took way too long on the very next possession, just, waiting till there was, before making his move until there were under 6 seconds, which was actually a problem throughout most of the game. Or at least throughout most of the second half. We saw the Celtics get a bunch of leak outs for easy plays in the beginning of the third quarter. It just all kind of went away, and their offense just kind of slowed down to a crawl in the fourth, largely because of the physicality of it. And then Horford's shot at the very end. How is that going to be forgotten? Off the glass. It looked like a perfect finish.
I have to give a shout out to AB though. He played his ass off. Like when it was looking like Wizards would get out to 10 points. He was hitting huge shots. He they didn't have any rhythm early on, and AB was hitting some shots. So it's he played really good. He's been pretty consistent throughout this entire series.
For a guy with a double hit pointer, he's been moving as well as I've seen him this season. From the opening tip, it seemed like the Celtics were coming out a little flat, but Avery Bradley was not. Every cut he made, although he missed the dunk, every cut he made was really hard and with purpose and was blowing by guys and finishing these tough layups. And he was pretty consistent, 10 for 18. This is a good sign, I guess, for Game 7 that Avery Bradley feels healthy and is locked in. And I thought he played really, really good defense on John Wall despite John Wall's heroic performance.
Yeah, he did make a dunk off of a smart alley-oop. Don't forget. But fighting through screens, preventing rim drives from John Wall. If the Celtics play the same way in Game 7, and I expect them to, more of these shots are going to go in. And, I mean, I think we've seen, Game 7s at home, the home team tends to win, 83% of the time. So there's obviously a huge advantage in playing at home.
One thing that really stands out to me, too, so we talked about the bench being so ineffective. They were 2 for 15 from the field. Kelly Olynyk did score both field goals. However, Kelly Olynyk, since the Oubre incident happened, when he's played in Washington, has played scared and hesitant, similarly to the way he played in Cleveland after he pulled out Kevin Love's arm, and then they boot him every time in Cleveland, and he airballed everything and looked scared. I got real concerns about Kelly, not at home in Game 7, but in general, as a playoff performer. If he cannot get it together and sort of be fed by the crowd hating him, he seems to shrink from that. And how do you have a guy who you need to like stretch the floor and shoot the three? And when he's so hesitant, he looked like he did not want to shoot the open threes. He only took 2 of them. They were both good looks, but he bricked him pretty hard, honestly, for him anyway. It took him a little quickly to rush them.
Hubie Brown had pointed it out that Bradley Beal was going baseline and Olynyk failed to cut him off. I just thought it was a really rough defensive game for him in addition to that. Go ahead, Lucky.
Oh, it's just going to be hard to sign him, really, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially if they draft somebody like Jonathan Isaac, you know.
No, Lucky, he's let's hope not. Kelly Olynyk's moving on. I don't think he'll be in Boston next year, but obviously, I mean, none of us were surprised when Kelly Olynyk bobbled the pass. But do we blame Kelly? I mean, he probably knew there was a foul to give. You got to find a way to get the shot up, right?
Oh yeah, you got to straight up, But you got to catch it first.
You're 7 feet. Got a ton of weight on Oubre. You got to find a way to get a shot up.
Catch it midair. Oh, well.
Exactly. I mean, he tried, but he missed it. And then he popped it out of bounds. Well, Oubre did, but.
I mean, Oubre made a good defensive play there. I mean, I don't know if Kelly could have gotten a shot up. If Oubre's hanging on his arms, it may not be possible to catch that ball. And saying find a way, there may not have been a way. Oubre made a good play. Yeah. I actually really, by the way, there was 3.5 seconds that foul happened, and somehow there was only 1.8 seconds. How did almost 2 seconds go off the clock? The foul was instantaneous.
I wondered that too.
Yeah. I was like, this should not be 1.7.
Yeah.
Typical Fix is in.
Yeah, that's right.
Today's show is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. It's playoff season, and having the right players on the court will be key to success. That sharp outside shooter or power rebounder can be the difference between winning and losing. But business isn't any different. Your company needs the right people to be the best. So where can you find the top talent? At ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites with one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your position. And right now, our listeners can start forming their own winning team on ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. Try out ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan.
In the end, we've got this really exciting Game 7, 2 very evenly matched teams. The Celtics get him at home. They've got their great player Isaiah Thomas, who's had his transcendent year. This is what, this may be, well, you can be depressed about them losing. This is really exciting. This is like what it's all about, playoff basketball, right? Especially when the team doesn't have a realistic chance to win the championship this year. This is the fun, guys. So I'm into the Game 7. I wanted to win Game 6 badly, don't get me wrong. But Game 7's awesome, and I'm glad it's in Boston. I believe the Celtics are going to pull this one out.
All right, so we got Game 7 in Boston on TNT, 8 o'clock. The draft lottery is the very next day at 8:30. These are pretty big. It's going to be a pretty big 24 and a half hours for the Boston Celtics. Which is more important to you guys?
Lottery.
Yeah, it's not close.
Well, maybe the Celtics can have their cake and eat it too. I'm looking forward to it. Jonathan Levy's looking forward to it. So's Lucky and my brother Jonathan. So.
Woo-woo.
Hey, the Wizards haven't won a game in Boston since April 16th, 2014. Let's keep that going.
Please.
All right, that'll do it here at Celtics Roundtable. Thanks for tuning in. You can give us a follow on Twitter at CLNS Roundtable. Please subscribe to the Boston Celtics newsfeed for more coverage. And you can give the Boston Celtics newsfeed a 5-star rating on iTunes. We really appreciate that. So, again, we'll be back to preview Game 7, and thanks for tuning in.